I, 25 female, have lived with my boyfriend, 25 male, for 3 years. We're way too broke to consider marriage, with the cost of rings and a wedding, which we want. My mom's side of the family is very religious, so much so that my cousin, 28 male, got married to a pastor, 28 female, at 24 years old, so they could move in together because otherwise it's taboo. My mom recently wedded her new husband, and my cousin and his wife were invited to the wedding. They took this opportunity to ask me when I'd get married. They weren't mean about it, but I knew they were uncomfortable at the idea of my living situation. Here's the history. My grandma died and left her thriving multi-million farm split between her son, my uncle, cousin's father, and her daughter, my mom. My uncle had been on the farm working in place of my grandfather, who had died a few years before my gran, while my mom decided to study further and had children in the city. So my uncle took exception to the fact that my mom got any of the property and threatened to sue my mom. My mom, 29 at the time, while her brother was 41, was naive and broke and in mourning and didn't want this fight, so she forfeited her portion of the inheritance. My uncle promptly sold the farm for a fortune and moved to the coast to retire at 45. Also, he paid for the extravagant marriage of my cousin and his pastor wife. So when they asked when I was getting married, and as if money couldn't be a deciding factor, I laughed it off the first time and told them I was just too broke to get married. My uncle had also just bought them their first house after they moved out of the apartment he bought for them. They again said money isn't a good reason as a Christian to live with my boyfriend while we still aren't married. I told them the truth. I can't afford to have my mom pay for a wedding and buy property for me like my cousin's dad did, because my uncle has the money that our grandparents wanted my mom to have. They can't use the premise of Christianity to make me feel guilty about my situation when they know my uncle threatened my mom out of her inheritance and then cut contact with her until he needed her help with his bad health. They were walking around like good Christians with unchristian skeletons in their closet, and when that closet was clean, could they come pester me about my unwed life? I know it isn't their fault my uncle's an idiot, but I can't tolerate the privilege some people feel over others because of having money and pretending it isn't a factor in life. But my mom wasn't happy with me. She said bygones should be bygones. My boyfriend is not happy with me. He said their privilege is not their fault. Am I the idiot for basically telling my cousin his father is a thief? Edit. Uncle contacted my mom for family support after his heart attack. I had to bite my tongue from telling her, now's the time for you to cut off contact with him during a difficult part of your life. I say this because he cut contact with her weeks after their mom died and she gave up her inheritance. Not the idiot. Tell them you'll get married once your uncle foots the bill. They shouldn't have asked if they didn't want an honest response. They did it to be rude and put you on the spot. What you said was true. Many people don't like truth tellers when they're telling the truth about them. But my mom was not happy with me. She says bygones should be bygones. It's not a bygone though. They still have the money. If they return the money, they emotionally blackmail from her. Then it can be a bygone. You served your cousin a slice of reality pie. He's living in a financial fairy tale while lecturing you about marriage. Just because they have a trust fund doesn't mean you should ignore your budget. Exactly this. They chose to prosper from the sins of the father. They have the choice to do the Christian thing and return to your mother what was stolen from her. They choose not to. That makes them no better than the father. The cousin is perfectly content to accept stolen money and act like he's morally better than the people the money was stolen from. And he deserves to hear what OP said to him. Judgmental idiots should keep their unsolicited opinions to themselves. On a side note, what is wrong with OP's mother? She doesn't seem like she's naive. It seems like she's a doormat. I say this because even after he screwed her over for millions when he got sick, she accepted him back in her life. This happened yesterday, and I'm still wondering if I overreacted. I, 35 female, did my usual weekly grocery shopping at a local supermarket. It was a busy afternoon, and the line at the checkout was pretty long. I was waiting patiently when I noticed the woman in front of me, probably in her mid-50s, becoming increasingly agitated as the teenage cashier, who couldn't have been older than 17, was scanning her items. The cashier seemed a bit flustered. I could tell she was probably new, making a few mistakes here and there, but Nothing serious. The older woman, however, was not having it. She started muttering under her breath, rolling her eyes and tapping her foot. Finally, when the cashier accidentally scanned an item twice and needed to call for a supervisor to void it, the woman lost it. She started berating the poor girl, saying, "How hard can it be to do this job? You can't even do basic tasks. You're wasting people's time." She just kept going on, and the more she yelled, the more flustered the cashier got, until she started tearing up. I stood there for a second, hoping the lady would cool down, but she didn't. The poor cashier was clearly trying her best to keep it together. That's when I stepped in. I said to her, "You don't have the right to treat someone like that. She's doing her best, and it's just a mistake. If you're so unhappy, maybe you should try working like her for a day and see how easy it is." The woman looked stunned and told me to mind my own business. I replied, "It is my business when you're making a kid cry over something as stupid as groceries." The cashier's supervisor had arrived by then and stepped in to handle the situation, and the woman stormed off, still muttering and cursing. After she left, the cashier thanked me with teary eyes, but a couple of people behind me in line gave me looks like I was the one who had done something wrong. Now I'm second-guessing myself. So, am I the idiot for telling her off? Not the idiot. If I were that cashier, I'd have been so grateful for you. I worked retail for way too long, and the abuse we get is terrible. The whole "customer's always right" platitude is completely misconstrued. That rhymed. But what it was meant to mean is that if the customer likes a product and then they buy it, they must be right. Follow the demand. It does not mean you can be crappy and punch down like you're so freaking entitled. 10 years ago, I was being yelled at by an evil old woman, being told to speak up, and how am I so dumb because I didn't understand that she wanted her items triple bagged. She mumbled a lot, and I only double bagged her tinned meats, and I was visibly upset. I still think of the sympathetic looks the others in line gave me. So to OP, you will be remembered for a lifetime for speaking out. It is possible that others in line were just shocked by the entire situation. A little kindness goes a long way. My girlfriend, 29 female, and I, 30 male, have been together for 2 years. I have a big birthday coming up, my 30th, and she decided to enlist the help of my 2 close friends and housemates to throw me a surprise birthday party at our house. Around 15 mutual friends and 10 of my friends were invited. I've always maintained that I hate surprises and want to know things in advance. I have mild social anxiety and hate having things kept from me. Also, it's not the way I enjoy things. I like to have things in my calendar to look forward to, think about, plan them out, imagine the details, and I'm the type of person who checks the menu weeks before I go to a restaurant booking. My girlfriend loves surprises. She did not believe someone won't enjoy a nice surprise. When she teased the idea of surprising me, I was always unequivocal in communicating that it was not something I wanted. Nonetheless, she went all out. Go-karting, dinner at a great restaurant. My house was decorated to the max for the party. Cake, balloons, confetti. My anxiety was building steadily from the first activity to the last. I was strung from location to location. Everyone knew the plan, the next location, except for me. I hated every bit of it. I had an internal conflict because I knew these were objectively nice things, but I couldn't help that I hated every second while having to pretend to all my friends that I was having the best time. I didn't want to be a killjoy and appear ungrateful. Throughout the day, I kept imploring her to give me more details of the plans, but she didn't want to spoil the surprise. It all came to a head when I realized we were heading back to our place for the party. It sounds silly, but my room was untidy, and the anxiety spike from knowing people would see it sent me over the edge. I said some unkind things to her, questioned if she even knew me, and that I hated it all. I told her this in private. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of others. I tried to smooth things over after, as I recognized I reacted out of frustration and anger, but she was understandably upset. She thinks I'm ungrateful and rude, which diminishes her efforts. I think I was driven to this by a set of events I was clear I didn't want. Am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend I hate the surprise party she arranged? Not the idiot. Your girlfriend didn't throw a party for you. She threw a party for herself. She completely ignored your wishes and doubled down by not telling you more information, even though you asked. It's very telling that she's now trying to play the victim. She sounds selfish and spoiled. Girlfriend didn't throw a party for you, she threw a party for herself. OP, read this to yourself 1,000 times while thinking about the day and how it was not about you, and you're now being guilt-tripped into not speaking your truth about not enjoying it. BS like this from when I was a teenager is why I haven't celebrated a birthday since I was a teenager. My grandkids and the partners of my kids don't even know when my birthday is. When they ask, I tell them that Nana Satan sprang from the bowels of the bad place, fully grown. You're not under any obligation to coddle her and protect her feelings just because she tried to do something nice for herself when it directly went against everything you've told her you would enjoy. I, 28 male, had the most bizarre moment of my life yesterday. I married Tina, 29 female, last year. One time, Tina and I were at home in the middle of the day. She realized she had forgotten to put on deodorant in the morning and that she had been apologetic to me. I told her I liked her smell and asked her if she could sometimes skip the deodorant when she was at home. She smiled and agreed. I work and Tina stays home. Last Sunday, Tina and I were at home and her mother, Victoria, 52 female, came over for a planned visit. Tina didn't realize she wasn't wearing deodorant until she hugged her mom. Victoria asked Tina why she was so stinky, and to my embarrassment, Tina told her the truth. Tina and Victoria have a type of relationship in which they talk openly about things. Tina immediately said, "Oops, she shouldn't have said that," after telling her mom. Her mom didn't seem fazed by it, so I thought it was just a passing embarrassing moment. Yesterday, Victoria made an unannounced visit to my work during my lunch break. We talked in my office. Victoria said she was disappointed in me and that I wasn't the man she thought I was. She said I degraded and objectified her daughter. She said I treated my wife like an animal. She said that I was definitely a misogynist. I just stood there and took it. I was so surprised I couldn't speak. I was just dazed for the rest of the day. Victoria and I always had a good relationship, and I was just floored that she could think that of me. Am I the idiot for degrading my wife by asking her not to wear deodorant at home? Not the idiot. I don't see how asking your wife not to cover up her natural scent is any different from asking that she wear a particular perfume. Honestly, your mother-in-law was out of line socially by mentioning how your wife smells in such a negative way. She was the one being degrading, not you. Mother-in-law is a genuine witch. She's essentially infantilized Tina as if she couldn't make her own decisions. I think the real issue here is why your mother-in-law is showing up to your workplace unannounced. Now that's what I call degrading and inappropriate. You should talk with her about boundaries and privacy. Victoria needs to mind her own business. She needs to keep her nose out of it, as you're not being mean to your wife. Talk with your wife about what was said, and that she might want to keep certain things between the two of you. Update. It turns out I didn't have to do anything. Victoria had talked to Tina and Tina's father, Warren, 54 male, about Victoria's concerns at Victoria's and Warren's house. Tina stood up for herself. Obviously, since I wasn't there with the three of them, there's going to be a lot of secondhand information from Tina. Victoria had told Tina and Warren all about what she told me. Tina had allowed Victoria to monologue everything she wanted to say. Tina told Victoria she wanted to not wear deodorant at home for her own pleasure too. Tina said I'm not a misogynist and she wasn't being degraded. Warren was annoyed with his wife for meddling in Tina's marriage. Victoria stormed out. Tina had apologized to me for telling her mom about that no deodorant thing. I apologized to Tina for not telling her what her mom said to me. Tina said she thought her mom had changed from how she used to be before, which is why she had been open with her about our private life. Tina said that growing up, she was and still is a very sweaty person with a high body odor. Apparently, Victoria is a germaphobe and a neat freak who's obsessed with hygiene and femininity. Tina said she used to feel disgusting about her body because of all the pressure her mom had put on her. Tina said she liked that she didn't have to be something she's not with me. Tina said that if anyone in this situation is a degrader, it's her mom. Tina said her mom is obsessed with a certain beauty standard. Tina reassured me that she doesn't feel degraded or objectified. She said our relationship is perfect and that she's happy. She said she loved me, and I told her that I love her too. To summarize, our baby is due soon, and I love her to the moon and back, and we're both so excited to meet our little girl and have a family. Unfortunately, my girlfriend's family got denied visas to be here during the birth, which is sad. Still, it's not hers or my fault, so we just have to accept it and see what we can do in the near future. It was dropped on me that her friend she lived with and worked with would stay at our place with our newborn for a week. It's a small apartment, and I said I was uncomfortable with that, having met the friend once. She's nice, but a bit loud and clumsy. She dropped and smashed items in the fridge twice and smokes. She always keeps giving advice to my girlfriend, which she keeps mentioning, not just for the birth, contradicts what the midwives have said. The friend doesn't live far away, a half-hour drive, but advises she needs to stay for emotional support because her family isn't here. The friend will cook for us, etc., and leave the baby be, but she's just trying to get involved as soon as the baby's born. I really don't want someone else living with us, even if it was my family, never mind a friend, during the early stages of our parenthood. We will have plenty of visitors, and I've told my girlfriend her friend can visit whenever she wants, just not staying for a week, which I find intrusive when I'm going to spend time with my new family. Also, I feel my family will find it a bit odd because someone who's barely in our life is spending more time with the baby during the time she wants to bond as much as possible. My partner's now very upset and saying that the friend will be staying when I said I don't want the friend to. I, of course, will let the friend visit, but not live with what'll be our first memories with our first daughter. I feel down because of how upset my partner is, but at the same time, I don't agree with it at all. So to be clear, you're taking off work and will be there with your partner 24/7, right? If you're not, I understand why your partner wants her there. Having your first child is a big deal, and it's scary if you don't have someone with you at the beginning. You are totally the idiot for refusing her request for support from someone else. She could break every cup and glass in the house, and it still wouldn't be more important than your partner's mental health and comfort. But we will have plenty of visitors. You are the idiot. First, you will not have plenty of visitors during the first week. That's insane. No, you have a couple of people who drop by for a few hours. They do dishes for you, a load or two of laundry, some dusting or vacuuming, give the bathroom a quick wipe down, do a run to the store, and leave you with a half dozen pre-made meals. You do not have visitors. Jesus, your wife has leaky boobs, oily hair, is exhausted, dealing with a screaming baby, recovering from birth, and you want visitors? Do not be surprised if you try to have visitors and your wife ends up at her friend's house. Accept her friend's help. She's there to change diapers and give you to a break, warm bottles and all of that. You can ask that she go home every night, but for God's sake, take her help that first week while your wife is miserable and in pain and healing.